S&T for the second of our virtual tours around the railway. Today we're going to look at interlocking on points and some stuff in signal boxes as well. The reason we have interlocking on the railway is to make sure that the points are properly set for the train to pass over. This set of points here at the moment is set to go into number 2 road, which as you can see is full of carriages, so we don't want to run a train into carriages. To ensure that the points are set and properly locked, we have a locking mechanism here which has a slot in it, and we have a plunger which has this snib on top, which when the points are set in the right position will plunge in and lock the points. So we'll change the points now and you'll see that that slot will disappear inside, and then when we come around and insert the plunger plunges into the lock, and that then locks the points. So if I now try and move the point lever, this stops the points from moving. If we then just operated the signal and didn't lock that in any position, somebody else could come along and take the plunger out and change the points. So we have an interlocking mechanism with a detector here, and we'll show you how that works. We've just seen the lock on the points working. Currently now withdrawn the lock to show you some of the other mechanisms. So the lock is connected to a set of swords, and this sword which is connected to the lock has a notch cut into it. The other 2 swords which are connected to the point blades also have a notch, and that's currently out this side because the points are over this direction. So when we set the points, you'll see that these notches will disappear into the detector here. And when we set the plunger, you'll see that this 3rd notch will also disappear inside the plunger, inside the detector. When we get the signal to operate from the platform, the detector here will operate, and a portion of this detector will cut through those slots and will stop the plunger being able to be withdrawn or the points to be moved. So we'll photograph this as we get in to operate it from the platform. And you'll see the wire from the platform will pull and the hatchet detector here will operate, and that is now cut through the swords. So I'm now unable to withdraw the plunger because it's jammed over here with the detector. So the detector has proven that the points are set and locked for the main line, and we've given a clear signal to the driver, and that is the driver's assurance to know that when he comes around the corner that the points are set and locked for the main line. We're going to start now with a set of flashing lights and boom barriers, and we'll move from the actual boom barrier installation and we'll have a look inside the stuff in the cabinet, the behind the scenes stuff. So come this way. Our level crossing cabinets. Level crossings, we have a series of relays that drive the actual flashing lights and bells and the boom barriers. Terminations for cables and fuses to protect the circuits. Standby batteries so that we can operate when the mains power goes off, which it sometimes often does up here in the hills. Lightning arresters for the track feeds in case we get a lightning strike. Our battery charger on this side. The actual units that drive the flashing lights, the flashing units, they're solid state units. And the highway crossing predictor, in this case a HXP3, which is the electronic brains behind the level crossing. This takes the inputs from the track, determines the speed of the train, works out when the flashing lights and boom barriers need to start operating, and then switches them off after the train has cleared the crossing. Welcome to the Menzies Creek signal box. This is where the points and signals at Menzies Creek are controlled from, and because we regularly cross trains here, we have 2 platforms and we need to put the trains into opposite platforms to be able to get them to pass one another, as the main line is only a single line. So we have a station here, we have a set of signals and point controls, and we'll go through them very quickly. In the frame, the signals are laid out geographically, so the first signal from Belgrave, which the driver encounters, is the outer home signal, and that's on lever 1. The next two signals, which bring you into either of the platforms, are levers 2 and 3, and they're all red ones because they're signals. The black lever is the points lever, and it's either normal or reverse, and it's also shown here on the diagram with the white light as to which road it's set for. So at the moment, number 4 points are set to come straight into number 2 road. We then have the two signals out of the platform as the next two levers in the frame. The other end of the frame is exactly the same, but in reverse. Now we'll have a look at some of the places that nobody ever gets to see, and this is the underneath workings of the frame. Welcome to the secret signals world of underneath the Menzies Creek signal box. The signal frame we have here is a basic 1880s design of signal frame. It's called a rocker frame because the shafts in this frame rock backwards and forwards depending on what lever actions are undertaken. Each of the levers that needs to be locked has a stud that sticks out the side. You can see that here, that's sticking out the side, and there's this lock above it. When the locking operates, the lock here is pushed forward from the shaft, and this brings the lock down in front of that stud. That will then stop this lever from being pulled out of the frame. So until the other opposing levers are all in the correct position and the locking is released, this stud is unable to move forward unless the locking is back in that position.